My life has no purpose, no aim, no direction. And yet I'm happy. I can't figure it out. What am I doing right? That quote is from Charles Schulz, creator of the Peanuts cartoon strip, who at the time when he said this was trying to understand his life's secular purpose. Let me ask you, do you believe that your life has a purpose? Well, it's a question that we're all going to want to answer at some point in our lives. And the catalyst many times is unfortunately tragedy. I was only 11 years old when I became acquainted with tragedy, when I was living in Greece. As I became a caregiver and observer to my mother's 6-year battle with cancer, her Rocky Balboa-like spirit never gave up until the very last moments when death took her from my arms at the age of 49. 5 years later, death and cancer came from my father. But he went down during the first round because he died within 2 months of diagnosis. He was 59. And at 22, I was all alone in this world. Or so I thought. Have you ever had a friend that had your back no matter what? Well, that friend for me was Spyro. He was the shoulder that I cried on, and the guy that knew exactly what to say when the moments were tough. I'll never forget the day after my father's funeral. Spyro saw me. I was feeling down. He came up to me, put his hand on my shoulder, and with a smile on his face and with a very Greek way, said to me, "Mario, what the hell did you ever do to piss off Zeus? Only thing, Spyro would be dead 4 weeks later. Killed in a car accident along with his younger brother. And when I found out the news, it was like a bullet went through my heart. And all my sadness, all my anger that night surfaced, and I demolished my apartment. I went from room to room, tearing everything apart, and at one moment, I came across a Bible in the bedroom, and I picked it up, and I screamed at it, "Why? Why?" And then, I threw it. The Bible hit the wall and landed face open on top of the bed. And I must admit, I felt remorse after I did that. So I went over to the Bible, and I picked it up. And I read what was on the open page. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." It was Psalm 23. And as I continued to read, a strange sensation came over me, a peaceful sensation. It was as if at that moment, God's hand somehow had reached through the pages of that Bible and had wiped away my tears. That night, when I eventually fell asleep with the Bible in my arms, Spyro came to me in my dreams. And he said to me, "Do not weep for me, Mario, for within my soul's classroom of life, there were lessons chosen, lessons learned, and lessons taught." Have you ever had an aha moment come to you in your dreams? Because that is exactly what Spyro delivered to me that night, because he answered the why question, affirming that we're spiritual beings having a human experience in a classroom of life where we're sometimes students and sometimes teachers to one another. And as I have come to understand, if I was to look at my life through the narrow perspective of a secular view, as Charles Schulz was doing, I can understand why he couldn't see his life's purpose. But if we look at it from a soul's perspective, then how we live our lives, and yes, even how we die, has a purpose. And with that knowledge, I started my own difficult steps in life. And as I was doing that, I started to hear my own soul's voice. Some people call that passion. And that voice turned my gaze up towards the heavens. As I started my career first in the high-tech and aerospace industries, and then when I started my own company, working with Orthodox churches, doing the interior work for them all over North America. But more miraculously than that, I also married an angel. And it was her light, Alex's light, that came into my life and took away my darkness. Because you see, it doesn't matter how dark things get, how difficult the lessons are, there's always light. Always light. So now, as I stand before you today, let me give you the one secret that all Greeks know and that Charles Schultz did not figure out. Never ever piss off Zeus.